What's happening, everybody? Yeah, sorry about the day. And I'm also currently trying out some newer ways of streaming. So we're streaming onto free platforms, like I said last night, and we've got some awesome dudes from LedSled Customs, and I appreciate them taking the time to jump on here with me. So I'm gonna pop them up on the screen now. How we doing, boys?
Good. How's it going? Well, let's see which one we
Yeah,
got.
thanks again for jumping on here with me, and hopefully it works well.
Try
And
to fit
I
two
say we're
heads in
streaming,
here.
attempting three platforms tonight. So
It's like we're flying somewhere.
yeah. So basically, how did this all come about? I mean, Let's Let Customs, and what's the story behind this? It's awesome, by the way.
Well, thank you. Well, I mean, just a quick rundown. I bought my first Sportster, let's see, in 1993, and just always rode and customized it, and then just always worked on it in my garage. And then let's see, somewhere late 90s, just realized I was constantly doing stuff on other people's bikes, and at that time I owned a trucking company. I had about 6 trucks, semi-truck driver, and just kind of decided to go into bikes more full-time because that was my passion. But being very broke didn't really help, but I just worked really hard and I guess pinched any penny I could, and just, now it's blossomed into what it is, almost 22 some years later.
That's incredible. That is incredible.
Yeah, and the whole time,
Can you still hear me all right?
Yeah, it's a little laggy, but I think it's working.
Awesome.
Can you hear us okay, Josh?
I can, mate. I can. I'm like I said, obviously I'll apologise in advance if there is any issues with it. 'Cause I say this is a free platform, so if it is really bad, then I'll definitely won't do it on 3 platforms again. So.
But yeah, I started LedSled just working and building on the Sportster platform. And, I've built a decent amount of big twins and stuff like that, but Sportsters have kind of always been my passion. And literally just always coming up with parts that I would want for my bike, or inventing parts that I always wish were available for Sportsters, is pretty much, what's driven us throughout the years, and, buying more equipment and just, machining and building our own stuff here at the shop has just kind of driven us to be where we're at now.
Yeah, I mean, like I was saying to you, before we went live, like it's to me, as someone from the UK, it's uncommon to see somebody in America putting so much effort into creating cool Sportsters, because usually it's big Evos and twin cams and panheads and shovel heads. And I personally I like the Sportster. To me, I like it's like compact, nimble looking. Looks fast to me.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, a lot of that back then, I feel like I've always been surrounded by buddies. I mean, at one time in my life when we were younger, on a Sunday, we'd have like 12 or 18 of us all on Sportsters out riding around. So I think the scene for Sportsters has always been around. I just think that, it never was as popular as other brand bikes for the media and stuff like that to portray. And, when I started building bikes, like especially frames, back in, say, 2003, back in those days, if you had a Sportster that was on a custom frame, they just always looked weird because nobody built frames for Sportsters. Paco did.
Yeah.
But if you wanted anything else, it was literally from a company that built a big twin frame, and they modified it to put a Sportster in it, and it just never looked correct. So when we started building frames, I wanted it to just be built for a Sportster to look like the Sportster should look with that frame in it, So I think that that's kind of one reason our look got so popular. You know, I think that we just try to construct everything and keep the Sports for what it is, you know, and build around it.
Yeah, because like you say, it's a narrow engine, isn't it? You know, it doesn't need to be in a fat frame, and you know, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's out of proportion. You know, when it's
Yeah,
just in a
exactly.
big twin frame, you know, the frame rails are stuck out really wide. Let me see if I can get both hands in here. This moves opposite. Like trying to comb the back of my hair in the mirror. Can't figure out which way to work the brush. Oh, here we go.
Awesome.
Get out of here.
The cat wants to get involved. But no, it's like I was saying off air, you know, it was like I posted a picture of that red Sportster you did, and it just looked so fast sat there. It was like to see a fat rear wheel with a small profile tire with five spoke wheels. It looked, you know, with a Springer front end. It looked fast just sat there, you know, and that to me was what I liked about it. It had like a, you know what I mean, like you guys have definitely got your own look, and you can tell like now I know it's yours, and I've seen your bikes, like straight away you can see this identity to the bikes that you guys are building. And you know, I think it's incredible. And also, you're building your own wheels from scratch as well. I think well, you can build so much stuff from scratch. You know, it's incredible.
Yeah, we've been building the Invader style wheels now for probably 4 or 5 years. You know, Scotty that used to build them called me one day, and he's built them since the 70s. And he called me one day, and he wanted to know if I wanted to buy some of his old inventory because he was going to quit building them. And you know, I was just kind of like, Scotty, you can't stop building Invader wheels, you know. So I had a quick conversation with him, and some things led to another. And long story short, I went over and hung out with him a couple of days. He showed me how to start building them, pretty much put me through college in a day, you know, showed me all his tricks that he's had, you know, that he's developed throughout the years. And, you know, pretty much handed the reins over to me to start building them.
Yeah, man. I mean, is it daunting to make a wheel from scratch? You know, because obviously fundamentally if that wheel wasn't to be put together right, was it nervous at first when you first started making them?
I wouldn't say really nervous, because I trust our ability to do things, but interesting, for lack of better terms. You know, you're kind of wow that you're to the point of building a wheel, you know, and manufacturing everything that's building this wheel. And then, you know, learning how to true them up, you know, that was a process, because even though, you know, Scotty showed me all of his tricks and everything, there's still a lot to be said with just doing it a bunch and honing in what you've been told into just a skill that you're just putting forward without thinking about it, you know. Because I mean, even when we started, just the process of remembering, oh, this is a 6-spoke wheel with a single side flange with a 4.5-inch hub, you know, you just start getting that through your head when you're just starting. It's kind of complicated, you know, even though you've got a sheet here in front of you telling you all this, you're kind of like, well, am I building this correct? You know, am I making all the offsets the way they need to? You know, even though you have something that's telling you how to build it, you know, but after doing it a bunch, you know, you start just getting into the groove of it, you know?
Yeah, mate. I mean, so like I seen some videos you did with a machine. You're spinning. Is that part of the wheel process where you're spinning? Is that right?
Well, not on the wheels. Well, interesting fact, the rings on the wheels, those are what they call a drop forge wheel. It's a form of spinning. I don't do that in-house. I do have the equipment and the tooling that I made to start doing that, but I have a company that I get these for that treat me really well, and they take care of me, so I utilize them. But it's a form of spinning. It's really cool. This big wheel comes in on this tooling, and it pushes really hard, man. It just does all this in one pass. Like if you look at the rims on the inside where the tubes and the tires set, you can actually see like small spinning lines on it from where they're spun. But it's a very interesting, there's a lot of pressure involved with that also.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. I mean, for me, I'd be terrified to put a wheel together. You know, knowing that someone's going to be doing like possibly 100 mile an hour, if not more. You know, it's like, I mean, I remember my dad telling me when he had some spokes started snapping on the front wheel of his bike at about 90 mile an hour. You know, he said it was a moment. You know, a moment he'll never forget.
Yeah, for sure. You know,
like, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, definitely. You know, spokes, anything has its limits, you know, and I think that's what a lot of people forget. You know, spokes, you know, break all the time.
Yeah, it's that's crazy. So like, what got you into deciding to like start to? Because I've seen you building the hardtail back ends like in a kit form. What kind of got you thinking to start to do that for people? You know, like obviously to sell to people, to kind of for them to create their own, you know, their own hardtails.
Well, like I said, let's see. Actually, over there on the wall is the picture, the article of our first hardtail we did. What year was that? Like 09? That gray one right there. Yeah. What year's that article? 08. So that would have been like 07 we probably built that. So I don't know, you know, around 07, just the idea popped into my head to where, you know, wanting a hardtail, you know, they had bolt-on iron head hardtails, which I just always kind of thought never looked that great because, you know, they don't follow the lines of the frame, you know, it's just not a good look. And then always riding Evo Sportsters, you know, I'm like, oh, we should come up with a way to make a hardtail for Evo Sportsters. Then it dawned on me, I'm like, we could use the frame as the frame jig and manufacture these hardtails, and dudes could put these on in their garage. So pretty much that's just, you know, a lot of, like I said earlier, a lot of these products are stemming from just ideas that I look at that I'm like, oh, I want that for me. And then I just figure out, you know, what's a way that I could build something cool for myself, but then be able to offer it to a guy in his garage, because that's all we are, is glorified garage builders. So we know all about that, being in your garage, having a TIG welder, having a grinder, and, you know, that's an air compressor, and that's how you build a bike, you know? So it's like, hey, how can I offer and help a guy out in his garage build something cool? So, you know, that's pretty much where that product stemmed from. And then it just blossomed into, hey, you know, I got a buddy who's hydroforming oil bags for me. Let's offer an oil bag with it. You know, let's offer one of our hand spun fenders with it. So a guy can just get all of this in one kit and make his life as easy as possible, to where he can assemble all this stuff and then enjoy the paint job or whatever he's put on it and get himself on the road and, you know, start riding his bike.
Yeah, man, for sure. I mean, and like with the style of your bikes, like, obviously, I can imagine that there's a lot of competition out there, but to be able to develop a unique look, like you say, you can kind of, you know, now for me, hearing about you guys before, but not really seeing much of your stuff until I started really diving into this whole custom scene a lot more, that now I can see a picture of your bike and it's like, that's clearly yours, you know, clean 5-spoke wheels, kind of a bit performance, a bit of old school Springer, and you know, kind of what took you down, because was the idea to make them look a bit like performance orientated, or was that just kind of happened?
Well, you know, I grew up with a handful of older brothers, you know, that had muscle cars and stuff, you know, as I was growing up. So that's influenced into it. They all had dirt bikes. I race dirt bikes now. So, and, you know, truck driving, my dad's still a truck driver. So I think in my style, I think that there's a handful, if you really look close, I feel like a lot of stuff I do has a mixture of all of those in it.
Yeah.
a bit. You know, you can kind of point out like, oh, there's the trucker, there's the 70s muscle car, there's the dirt bike. You know, it's like I feel like everything we do, it's got a hint of all of those aspects in it in some form. And I think that's just the ingredients of, you know, LedSled.
Yeah, man, no, it's for sure. It's I mean, and like you say, you know, it's definitely to be able to create your own unique look in today's society where Instagram and Facebook and social media has had so much influence on people, to be able to kind of still be recognized as that is a lead sled bike. It's
Yeah.
I can't imagine it's easy, you know?
Well, it's kind of interesting because I started out before there was even Instagram.
Yeah,
I don't even
yeah,
think there was Facebook. I don't even think
No.
there was MySpace or anything
No.
back when when I started, like, I remember a friend came up and said, hey, I'm going to build you a website. So, you know, it's kind of interesting to be doing it so long to where, you know, just doing it in the shop, going to events, being in magazines. You know, there may be like a month back in the day, you know, there might be a month to where we were in like 4 magazines all over the world. You know, we might be in Freeway magazine overseas and, you know, then an American Iron magazine or Cycle Source or Street Shopper over here, you know, and, you know, it's just,
Did you
everything's
make
changed.
it to? Did you make it into Backstreet Heroes in the UK? You know, they've been around for like 40 years now, celebrating 40 years this year.
I don't know, to be honest with you.
They're
I could,
they're a big magazine in the UK.
I mean, you know, what's kind of weird and sad is, you know, except for Cycle Source magazine, there's not many magazines left. I mean, there are, but I mean, just saying like, what would you call it? Maybe the more popular on the shelf magazines, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, we possibly could have been in that one. I'm not really sure. I think they're going to go check right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, and it's like I got a friend. He's this year he's just cancelled his subscription with Backstreet Heroes just because, unfortunately, magazines aren't cheap anymore. And so he brings me like 3-4 at a time, and I've kept them all. So when I start doing live events, because this year my plan is to do like bike shows in the UK, bike nights at cafes, I have all these magazines, and the plan is I'm going to lay them out on the table. You know, that when I have my stuff all, like, I'm going to have my laptop, my camera, my microphone, and I just want guys just to pick up a magazine and just be humans again, you know, because it doesn't seem to be existing anymore, you know?
No, you know, I mean, you know, to finish a bike back in the day was pretty cool because you kind of had a goal. You know, there might be a magazine that wants to feature it. I don't know, you know, just magazines. Getting a feature in a magazine, I feel like, has a whole different feel and has a aura about it as opposed to a feature on the internet, which features on the internet are cool too. I mean, there's definitely a place for them. I'm just comparing to a magazine in your hand, you know, that you can just sit there and look at and dwell on and, you know, set it on a table. And then later when you're thinking about something, you just go grab it up and you're sitting there looking at the print. You know, there's just something, I don't know, nostalgic, if that's the word, about it, you know?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, even though, like, so see, one thing I really caught me when I started really diving into your content is you're the first person I have seen on Instagram, and at the moment that's taken the time to put like almost like a small 3-4 minute how-to video of how to install one of your kits. You know, it's like you proper simplified it for like me who aren't trained fabricators like you know, like the way how you described about going on a corner on the frame and bringing it round, like, so stuff like that, to probably people that are equally as skilled as you, is probably a no-brainer, but to people that aren't like a skilled fabricator, you know, that's probably the difference of somebody getting really frustrated and kind of kicking the kit to the side and leaving the bike for 6 months because they're like, this isn't going to work, you know. I personally really appreciate stuff like that, you know.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate that. And I feel like for me, it's really easy to point out things like that because, you know, I obviously have that pointer because I had to figure that out myself. You know, it's not like I was just like, ta-da, here's the easy way to put this on. sometimes things like that come to you, but I sat there and had to figure out the easiest way to put that on. And honestly, probably when we shot that video, it might have took me 2 takes to get it to where I made it look easy enough for us to even film it, but it is that easy. But, even for me, it's not like I just walk over there and I have some magic wand and I slap it on there, so it's easy for me to relate to a garage builder because, like I said earlier, I'm just a glorified garage builder, and I really haven't ever grown out of that mentality. Still to this day, like product we come up with, we have a lot cooler toys and stuff now to play with, but I'm still a garage builder at heart, and everything that I build and do, I feel like I'm trying to help a guy in the garage because I want to see you build something cool, and I want to try to help you any way I can to get you a cool product. Or I've had garage builders that goof off and they tell me something about my product that's like, hey man, this might be a little easier if you tweak this, and I'm like, oh, that's a great idea, and then I'll go tweak what I do because a guy in his garage threw out something to me to where I'm like, yeah, you're right. So and a lot of stuff we build, everything we build, we pretty much use it ourselves first quite extensively, unless now we've been doing it long enough I just know when something will work. But we've never been a company that just comes up with a product and throws it out there before we really test it and we're hard on ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, do you find like, obviously after like COVID and everything, like the world kind of turned around a little bit financially, do you find that being able to supply kits, and obviously with the influence of almost like how-to videos on YouTube, do you find that obviously that you're able to produce these kits, that you've been able to kind of stay above, and continue to thrive and move forward as a business? Is that kind of been a thing?
I don't know. That's a pretty interesting question. I mean, honestly, we just always kind of keep our nose to the grindstone around here, and we're always pretty busy, which we're thankful and blessed, that we stay busy. But I don't know, it's just always such a constant push around here for building product, building bikes, and then like there's always new ideas throwing up around here. I mean, really, I just kind of, if there's a break in the action and maybe we're not really busy for a moment, I just take that time to really focus on and try to catch up if I can, because I know that within another week, it's going to hit the fan again. So we just really just keep a constant push around here.
Yeah, man, that's
if that answered the question.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's obviously, I think obviously I mean, I can imagine that in the dream world you just build bikes and not have to worry about business and things, but obviously being able to kind of still continue to progress as a business and like you say, keep innovating and like developing new products. It's trying to being able to, I mean, I'm more intrigued on the side, like, even though I'm only doing like podcasts and trying to like help push people's garage builds, I find myself juggling 3 or 4 things. It's not exactly a walk in the park. I don't find it easy. And that's why I'm intrigued to kind of know, as somebody that's responsible for, obviously, for probably other people's wages, keeping a shop open, and to be able to keep very, very active like you are on social media. You've kept with the trends, but you've got an old school approach, and you know what I mean? I can't imagine it being necessarily very easy.
Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. What's even funnier was I didn't ever know I was starting all this. I never had a game plan. Awesome. I never had a business plan. All I knew was I wanted to have a bike shop, and I didn't even really know what that meant. I just thought it would be cool to like make a set of grips or pegs for my bike and maybe have a t-shirt. I thought that'd be just amazing. And, I rented, if you'd have seen the shop that we were in for 20 years, we've only been in this new facility for 2 years. And it was practically a basement. No, it wasn't practically. Wow. It was a basement, a walk-in basement. I mean, we worked in such close quarters where we just had one grinder because we could just hand each other the grinders as we were working, And, it just kept blossoming. And it's just a passion, and I enjoy learning. I enjoy when I get a new piece of equipment and we can just make more product and more stuff. It's so yeah, I I did really good at not knowing what I was doing and making it work, I guess.
And that's probably like half, I wouldn't say half of the secret, because I can imagine there's a lot of other things, but that's probably part of it, is the fact that almost like not worrying about what everyone else is doing, and like not thinking, oh, I've got to build a pan head or or a knuckle or a shovel because that seems to be the way. Like I said, for me, looking from the outside, there doesn't seem to be people that, I mean, for example, in the UK, Sportsters are very popular. In like they take the 48, with the tank on top of the frame, they jack the tank up a little bit more. They drop some really short rear shocks in, and they chop the back mudguard right down. And that seems to be like I'm not saying, again, I apologize if I'm offending
Sorry.
any of the other guys, but that seems to be kind of like the level of the
Sorry.
level of no worries, man, it's cool. It seems to be the level of like what people are wanting to do with Sportsters on average. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fine. Everybody can do whatever they want, and just you talk about scenes and stuff, and yeah, I've never, modestly speaking, it's like politics. I try not to pay attention to them. I try not to pay attention to the scene, or really what's cool. I mean, you obviously, it's around you, so you kind of see what's cool here and there, what people think's cool. But I just kind of try to stay in my lane and build what I like and build what I think's cool, and morph it and enjoy what I'm building, and however it comes out or it's interpreted, just what happens.
And that's Pat, and that's probably why you've been doing so well for so long, and people appreciate, because it's that whole not giving a fuck and not trying to fit in. And people, I think potentially at the beginning it's a little bit harder, but over time prevails, and people truly appreciate the fact that you are just doing what you want to do, and you're knocking it out of the park with that. I think it's, in the long term, people appreciate that more. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I can appreciate that. Yeah, when you do start out, I guess it is a little harder, because you can, you obviously have to pay bills. So, you might take on a couple projects that you're not really into as much, but some of those are kind of fun too, because even though you don't want to do them, or not don't want to do them, that's a little bit more hardcore, but maybe you're just not so into them. I've took on bike builds before, especially, if a guy wants like a color I'm not into. I'm not really a fan of white bikes, but honestly, some of the coolest bikes I've built, I feel, are a couple white bikes that I built, because a guy will give me a bike and he'll be like, yeah, I kind of want a white. And I'm thinking, oh, okay. But then I just take it upon myself to be like, all right, let me see how cool I can build this bike that I'm not really into. Sometimes building stuff that you aren't into kind of opens a whole other door to be creative, and just put forth the effort and put your style into it. And then when you're done, you might be like, whoa, that's a whole different something I would have never done, but it's really freaking cool. So, sometimes just challenging yourself in that aspect. But yeah, going through, at the beginning, you do take on some more projects, but it is kind of nice after doing it for years. I feel like when a customer calls us, they know us, they know how we roll, and they're already into what we have to offer. So it's a very good mesh, and it's easy to build for each other, and we just get the job done for somebody.
No, that's cool. That's definitely cool. So out of interest, what kind of inspired the idea of putting like late 70s tanks, like Jap tanks, on some of your builds?
Well, some of those that you're seeing are like Husqvarna gas tanks, like dirt bike, and like I said before, I raced dirt bikes. I rode dirt bikes for a long time now. So, just some of that stuff, like our race ready, that kind of stems from KTMs. They come out, they say they're race ready. Just kind of changing it up. I kind of like that I don't know if you're familiar with Detroit Brothers way back in the day. You know, they kind of have
Detroit
yeah,
Brothers.
they would kind of have squared off, you know, kind of chiseled, crazy bikes. Which, if you know those dudes, those bikes totally resembled their attitudes in real life. But yeah, you know, just kind of sometimes mixing it up. You know, I've had that Discovery Channel bike we built. You know, when we built that, I had a gas tank that I set on that bike, and I had built for the bike, but it just flowed really nice, and it just looked like the gas tank that should be on it. You know, and there was about 5 of us downstairs looking at this bike, and it dawned on me I had one of those little Husqvarna gas tanks up on our soda machine upstairs. So I ran upstairs and I grabbed it and I set it up there. And automatically everybody in the room was like, man, I don't know. But they were thinking about it. And as soon as I was like, they're thinking about it because it's making you think. And I'm like, instantly I was like, this is the gas tank's going on its bike. Because the other one's just too perfect. You know, it looks nice on here. And it looks like it should be on here. And it's just too nice. And I'm like, this gas tank here. You know, sometimes it's nice to build something to where you're like, I don't really know if I hate it or I like it, but I think I might like it. You know, it's like that.
Yeah,
Discovery Channel bike too. You know, fat tires weren't popular anymore. So when I built that bike, I was like, I'm going to build it a fat tire Invader because you're going to have a 70s style rim with a fat tire. And it's going to be Springer. I mean, it's going to be something you're going to look at and you're going to have to, you might think about it, you know, if you like it or not. And then maybe you might end up liking something that you really think that you shouldn't like, you know?
And,
like,
that's exactly, yeah. So sorry to speak over you there, but that's exactly like when I first posted that picture of that bike with the red tank. It was like, I've never seen a 5-spoke Invader with a tire that clearly looked like it just been pulled off an R1. You know, I thought this thing looks fast. It looks fast
that's
out there,
goalie.
and then the suicide shift up.
Too.
You know,
just looking fast, but still just chopper and sketchy feeling and nimble with the big space in between the wheels. You know, just like the ultimate death machine.
Yeah,
that you can throw a stick on the back.
Yeah, and that's it, and that's what it. You know, I mean, no custom bike is ever built for practicality. You know, it's.
And the amazing thing is, you can set on that bike, and it's literally like driving your living room down the road. It's comfortable. It's an amazing riding bike. You know, so many people look at motorcycles and you can't interpret what it's going to be like riding that bike down the road looking at it. You know,
no.
So, that's why all of our bikes, if I'm on a show and anybody's looking at something, I'm like, sit on that bike. They're usually like, no. And I'm like, no, sit on that bike. Because I'll hear them say something like, oh, I bet that's uncomfortable. It's like, no, sit on it. Check it out.
Awesome,
Keys are on. Take it for a ride.
That's awesome. I mean, and like, how did I asked Corey last week, and he runs, Corey from Canada, he runs Springers as well. Like, I've never ridden a bike with a Springer front end. So, like, what's it like, you know, chucking it into because obviously your bikes look fast and I'm guessing you ride them fast. So what does it feel like, you know, when you're throwing a Springer around?
More intimate, for lack of better terms. You're going to feel the road more. You're going to feel reaction more. A hydraulic front end is definitely nice. You know, it's going to suck up more stuff and it's going to feel smoother. A Springer is not necessarily rough by any means, but I'd say at the end of the day, there's probably a little bit more movement with the Springer, you know. Hold on, another cat. Okay. We got 2 shop cats, and anytime you're doing anything intricate, they like to be involved. So
I see the pictures earlier of your cats.
Yeah, you should have seen them. I set a box up here that I was just cleaning some stuff out, and I looked over, one setting in the box in the sun. Then I look over, and the other one, Oakley, comes up. It's like, bam, 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 smacking on Ginger. He runs off. Then I look over later, and she's sitting in the box. I'm like, what? She just beat him up to get in the box? It's always something.
What are they like when you're starting the bikes up? Then do they do a runner, or are they used to it now?
No, they just kind of hang out. They're both barn cats. You know, one was in the barn when we started building the barn. The other one showed up outside Oakley. She showed up. Yeah, just And a little piece of turkey in any cat will become your best friend.
Oh yeah.
I don't really know if they like us or if they
cats.
just like our food.
But so back to the Discovery bike. Like, did Discovery reach out to you then with building a bike?
Yeah, I mean, at that time they were starting a show. Man, sad to say I can't even remember the name of what that show was. But they reached out to us, and I'm sure within them casting that show, they had a handful of shops that they reached out to, and I would say by the end of it, a lot of us shops knew each other, so all of us were probably name dropping to help each other get involved with it, stuff like that. And they paid us to build the bike and then let us keep the bike. So I thought it was a great opportunity. I'm like, no matter how cheesy it is, let's do it. And we're getting paid for it. Let's make a nice commercial for ourselves and conduct ourselves professionally and interesting and not fake anything. And then that's one problem the producers had with us, because we wouldn't fake anything. That was the time of county choppers. So they try to get us to act, just do something stupid. And we're like, dude, we don't really do that.
Dramatic.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, what's wrong with building an awesome bike and hitting the button the first time and it starts right now? Like, what's wrong with that? That should be as cool as it not starting, because now you're just showing what a professional you are, and you can build a bike and push the button and it starts right now. You don't need all this drama, so it worked.
No, that's it. It's because like Ollie from Ride Choppers or Die podcast, he's had a couple of guys on from one of the guys called Josh, who ended up working with Paul Senior. And like he was talking about Telly as well, and he said exactly the same as you. He said they wanted drama, and they couldn't understand why the guys building bikes didn't want to create drama,
Yeah, it's like, this isn't that dramatic. It's awesome and it's fun. Like, let's capture that instead of all this soap opera bullcrap.
Yeah, for sure. But it's So like, have you seen that that Jesse James has released? He's got his own channel, Outlaws TV.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yep.
Yeah. What do you think to that? I mean, I think it's pretty cool that he's like investing time and money and trying to bring back just pure handcrafted engineering and.
Oh, I mean, I think it's amazing. There's definitely a place for that, and it's cool to see it coming back. Because I feel like, in the days where, when they were doing the shows on Discovery Channel, back then Discovery was pretty cool to watch. There was always, turn on Discovery anytime and somebody was on there welding something or building something, Monster Garage, like, you can get lost watching any of that stuff as long as somebody's building something and putting something together. Remember, there was this one show once, I don't know what the name of it was, but these dudes would like show up at a junkyard and they would have teams and like 5 dudes on each team, and they would give them a project. And it's like, hey, you got to build a helicopter out of whatever's in this Junkyard Wars. Yeah, it might have been that. But I'm like, I could sit and watch that all day long.
We had it in England called
welder, and it's like, whatever. It's awesome, So I'm really glad
we had it in England called Scrap Heap Challenge. We had it in the UK. It was called Scrap Heap Challenge. Same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, stuff like that. But I'm just saying, it's like, it's really cool to see stuff like that starting to come back around, especially on the level of what Jesse does, and the people that he knows that he's going to get involved. I mean, it's going to be some intricate, interesting stuff to watch.
Yeah, because obviously, like, especially with the likes of James, like he's been around the Hollywood side of it, and because he's been able to come out the other side of all the Hollywood bullshit, he's got the best of both worlds, where he knows what's gonna make television right without all the Discovery. Because obviously a lot of the guys say how much Discovery, like you said there, wanted to dramatize things, wanted crazy deadlines. So Jesse's got all of the knowledge of that. Plus, he's got knowledge like yourself, who's like truly passionate about the thing side of it, and he's mixed it together and developed what it should be, in my opinion. I mean.
No, I agree. Like I said earlier, it's just, all of that stuff is cool without having to pretend and act to make it cool. You know,
Yeah.
a dude's attitude that could be the most laid back, soft spoken guy in the world that they wouldn't think is good for TV could be amazing for TV just because what he's doing with his hands. It's like capture what he's doing and what's neat as opposed to trying to get what's coming out of his mouth as much, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's incredible. I mean, see, for me, I was like what 10, 11 years old when watching like Biker Build Off, you know, and like one of my biggest idols was Indian Larry. I mean, I think I said it a few times. Like, I got his question mark tattooed in the watch on my hand, you know. Just I like same like yourself. What I like about your style is you take a style that's not popular, not it's not popular, like not copying other people. You put a massive influence of performance and created your own style, like Larry did with the New York style bikes, the narrow because he wanted to get through traffic, keeping it quite high so he could miss all the bumps. And, you know, and that's what I think is cool as hell. You know, and staying true to yourself, not giving a fuck about what everyone else think. I think it's hard. I think it's hard to be able to develop all of that. Like, you know, not going over like what we said earlier, but I think at the end of it, it becomes a timeless style. You know?
Yeah, and I get it. I mean, I don't think it's hard to do it. It's not hard just doing what you do and I guess be who you are. I feel like that's the easy part. I guess the part is if you're lucky enough to where people like that. You know what I mean? Because you don't really have to try to just do what you do and you know, build what you build and do and be who you are. But you know, it stems to where at the end of it, like if people appreciate it and like it. But back to Indian Larry really quick, we do have some spokes here twisted by John and Bobby and all them out there. Because sometimes we build some invaders for those guys here and there with their twisted spokes.
I'm glad you touched on that, actually, because that was a question I wanted to ask. I completely forgot about that. So when I saw your twisted invader wheels, is it more tricky to balance them? I mean, how do you know that?
Honestly,
you know what I mean? Like with regards to it being twisted and still being true is what I mean.
Well, not really, because you know, by the time we cut the spokes and we build them, and I kind of almost balance the wheel as I true it up, and I build our wheels so true to where honestly, the only reason you would have to get one of our wheels balanced is, you know, depending on what tire combo you're running. You know, like maybe if you're running a Speedmaster, like a bias ply tire with a tube in it, you know, you might have a balance at, I mean, I'm just throwing out numbers, but you could have a balance at 50 to 55, you know, but then you could just throw some beads in the tube. But all in all, I mean, if you're running a good tire, and Speedmaster is a good tire, I'm just using that for an example. You know, I don't have a bike that I own that I have the tires balanced on, and I've never balanced the tire on any of my motorcycles. So that's
awesome.
Good or bad, but they don't need it. So, and I've built some pretty funky spokes, like with aluminum inlays, hand engraved leather inlays, twisted spokes. So, I mean, you know, it kind of almost comes down to the tires with our rims.
Yeah, no, I mean it's I mean I like that. I looked at one you did the other day, or well, I came across the post the other day where you created the spokes from the outside of the hub and you crossed them over. That was sick. You know, is that what you called it?
Yeah, the Challenger, and we have the Endeavor, which is 5 spokes. And then I've got a guy who called the other day, you know, dudes call us all the time and they're like, hey, can you build me a Challenger, but only use 6 spokes, you know, do 3 and 3. So as long as anything's not dangerous or, you know, pretty much dangerous is about the only thing that concerns me. And I kind of know the point, you know, what is safe at this point to build. But as long as the dude's not doing anything that's, you know, going to affect that for himself, you know, we can usually do a spoke or do whatever a guy calls and asks us to build for him.
Yeah, Yeah, that's cool. Have you? I mean, have you used any like carbon fibers, anything like that? You know, is that something that's doable?
No, I mean that's a that's a whole nother
Whole nother
realm
world. Yeah,
of stuff. Yeah, we don't really get into that. I mean, I like it, but yeah, that's
yeah.
not any of our wheels. I think Brock from Brock's Performance, he makes some really cool carbon fiber wheels that I've had a couple buddies use. That are his
Really?
wheels are sweet, and they're all carbon fiber.
No, that's cool, man. It's but yeah, it's yeah, you know, like I seen a couple of wheels like that, but I didn't. I always wondered whether you guys have been testing the water with it, or you know, 'cause like I say, I'm trying to do my research before I got to speak to you to kind of make sure I kind of know
Yeah.
where, you know, where what I should be asking and things. And
Yeah, no, that's a little out of our wheelhouse of what we do, you know. But it's not that we're not into it. It's just we got our hands full right now, just doing in our world of what we build, you know, what we keep inventing that keeps us
yeah,
busy.
yeah. So like that frame you got on your bench at the moment that you're working on with with the really high raised the high raised neck on it, like. Is the bottom of the frame still original Sportster?
No,
No.
no, we build the entire frames. I mean, we machine all the product that we build. We machine in house and manufacture in house. So yeah, there's
Yeah.
no all of
No,
that.
the only reason I asked is obviously because on whether I looked at it wrong, but the bottom of the frame looked black, so I wondered if it was kind of in a mock-up stage where maybe I'm looking at it in the wrong light or something, but it kind of still
No,
looked
you're
like
looking at the High Seas Rally bike.
yeah,
Yeah, no, the down tubes on that are chrome, and then
yeah,
the bottom is black. So that frame is a mixture of chrome and black.
right,
So that's why
right,
you're
okay,
seeing the cradle on the bottom is black, just because there's like diamonds that separate the chrome. And
right, okay,
I wonder if I can show you really quick.
yeah, man, that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, bring it over here to the other side.
One moment.
No, that's cool, man. Thanks
Yeah,
for
this is the
showing
High
us.
Seas Rally bike we're building for. I don't know if you've heard of the High Seas Rally Cruise.
No,
It's
I
like
haven't.
a
No.
bike on a cruise ship. It's pretty sweet. There's no motorcycle.
Oh,
riding.
I've seen you advertise. I've seen you advertising it. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, see, here's the motor. This is the cradle. So you're correct. This is all black, but I don't know if you can see here. Bring it a little bit more. Like I welded on these diamonds to separate the powder coat from the chrome, and the whole down tube.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's probably what's making you think it might be like the original cradle. We did the same thing up here on the Springer front end also. This is the front leg on it's chrome and black.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool. That is so cool. And then you got the triangular headlight as well, and it's just clean and simple, and it's
Yeah, the amber lens.
just does.
I haven't used those yet. We're doing this. I went out to Dave Carroll to the shop for him to do the flame job on it. We're doing traditional flames on it, and I don't know. When I saw that amber headlight, I was like, "That's just going to go really sweet with that light."
And if you get a chance, we just posted a reel on the gas tank that passed.
Oh yeah, the gas.
Yeah, I did. I saw it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're on about running louvers underneath. Am I right?
Dimple holes. We use the dimple die.
holes.
And then
You can grab the. Sorry, bro.
what?
Right there.
Oh. Yeah, here's the plates that are going on
Yeah.
the bottom. They're not yet, but
Wow, that's cool, man.
yeah.
Yeah, you can't have enough of them. You know, they always say you can't have enough dimple holes.
Yeah, right.
It looks fat. Look again. It's about look. It looks fast. Just sat there. You know. It's just man. That's cool. That's cool. Do you guys mess with engines, or are we? You know, you just chucking a cam in it, or is there a lot of work going in them?
No, I mean we put a 1200 kit in it, and then we'll put some mild cams in it. Probably put like a mild Mikuni on it, and then like we do this one's going to have our panhead valve covers on it. You know,
Yeah, I
just
saw
kinda
them.
change
That's cool.
look up at the motor a little bit.
Yeah, that's cool as hell because again, it's not, you know, you don't see many kits to dress the heads up like that. I saw them and I'm like, yeah, they look sick. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, you know, they're not covers, they're actually functional parts. You know, there's a lot of things out there that you can buy that just bolt on. I'm not really into covers too much. I kind of like it to be functional, you know, but that doesn't mean that the covers and stuff that aren't out there aren't cool. They're definitely cool. It's just for me personally,
No.
I kind of like it to be something that's functional, that's just bolting on, and that's all you need.
No, it's I'm the same. It's like I'm my first project that I'm going to be building on YouTube. I got a 125 that I built a bobber out of hand shifter, foot clutch, and I put an oil breather tank on the side mainly because I like what you guys, a lot of you guys, like the guys have done the external oil filters, you know, with the
Yeah,
pipes going back to the engine. So basically, what I did is I like the look of that. So I took an oil catcher tank and I run an oil breather pipe to the casings, and then I ran the other side to an oil breather filter. So I was the same as like, I'm gonna put this on there, but it actually has to do a job. You know, it can't just sit
yeah,
there and not do anything. It's not
yeah,
gaining any performance or anything, but it had to do something. You know.
yeah. It's just functional.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
some
for
type of
sure.
function.
No, that's it's awesome, man. So yeah, I think I appreciate, you know, I appreciate you taking the time to sit with me. I don't want to keep you much longer, and I look forward to seeing the projects finished, especially that one because that's the one I've been watching you build in the reels and things, and I appreciate you showing everybody, and also and I appreciate like the how-to videos, you know, because like I said earlier, not everyone knows how to put a kit together, you know, and
Yeah. Well, this year we've already determined, you know, we're trying to do some more videos just about our parts and the history of the parts that I've invented and came up with, just so people know. And then we're trying to do a lot more install videos for you guys on our product, and just kind of trying to engage more with our audience, and, you know, just help them figure things out and stuff like that.
no, it's definitely, and like and on a business side, I think that the fact it's perfect timing because obviously there appears to be more and more wanting to take on their own projects and buy kits. It's a no-brainer to kind of give back to people that are wanting to buy the kits anyway, and show people that it is possible to have a go yourself, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
It's so anyone wants to order any of your products, how do they get hold of you?
Obviously Instagram, Facebook. You can go to LedSledCustoms.com. You know, we have all of our product on there, a lot of new product that's going to be uploaded. Obviously you can email us, you can call us at the shop, you can hit us up on Instagram, and a lot of things that you see on our bikes that we've custom built, or products that we have that are on custom built bikes, you know, even if they're not on the website, you can call us, because a lot of the stuff on there we may have sitting around the shop that we're getting ready to put up or put up for sale on the website, and they just haven't got there yet. So, you know, you can simply call us also and just ask about a part that you're inquiring in, or, you know, we can change something for you. We're pretty easy going here, so you can kind of get what you want.
No, that's awesome, and obviously you ship worldwide as well, don't you? I see on one of your posts that you ship worldwide.
Yep. Yeah, we're
That's awesome.
constantly.
That's cool, man. So yes, I think I said we'll end the stream there.
Well, really quick, I want to touch base on something. So you guys don't say noon there?
No, we don't say. Well, I don't. I can't vouch for it. To be honest, though, I'm gonna be completely honest with you, Pat. I when my missus says to me, she says dinner time, right? Or
yeah,
and I'll say to her like, what time's dinner time? You know, and that's and she's from England as well, and
yeah.
I mean, my excuse is I grew up I'm English, but I grew up in Spain, so that's my excuse. You know, that's my excuse for everything.
Yeah, because when I was like the other day, I was like,
I typed for you guys that don't know. I typed him. I said, "Hey, for us, we say noon. That means 12 p.m." So I was just like, "Hey, does noon on Wednesday work?" And he sent back. He's like, "I don't speak your lingo. I don't really know what you're talking about." And I was like, "Oh wow, okay."
You asked
They
me, you're
don't
like,
use noon. Okay, 12 p.m. So just interesting.
To be honest, it's probably me. I'm not the brightest spark in the. I'm not
I'm not
the
either.
brightest spark in the old. But yeah, I'm always saying to my missus, "Oh, dinner time," and I'm like, "Yeah, but what time is dinner time?"
What if I eat dinner at 6?
Yeah.
Then that's dinner time. All right, man.
But,
Well,
that's
you have
the
a
thing,
good one and keep in touch.
Yeah, sure, exactly. Awesome.
All right, have a good one, guys.
Appreciate you, brother.